Hey, what is up YouTube? Smaller here, and this time I'm doing a little bit of a different video. One, obviously my webcam is not on here, but you know what I thought is that this year we are about to hit the 10th anniversary for the Game Awards, and I thought, why not do a personalized top 10 of all of the previous Game of the Year winners, with then adding in my personal Game of the Year for this year as the 10th game, and where I would place it amongst that as well. So, let's go ahead and put them in. I already know that, let's see, actually, let me bring them all up. Dragon Age Inquisition was the first winner. Witcher 3 was 15, I believe. Overwatch was 16. 17, I want to say, was Breath of the Wild. 2017 was, shoot, what was 20? No, that was 2017. 2018, God of War. Right? 2019 is Sekiro. 2020, I believe that was It Takes Two. Was that It Takes Two? It was one of those years. What is that? We have, obviously, Elden Ring was last year. I believe 2020 was Last of Us 2, Part 2. I'm not actually sure if that was the order. Let's Game Awards all winners. Okay, Dragon Age Inquisition, Witcher 3, Overwatch, Breath of the Wild, God of War, Sekiro, Last of Us Part 2, It Takes Two, Elden Ring. Alright, so these are all the previous winners. Now, the nominees for this year, I'm going to put down a little bit lower here. We have Alan Wake 2. We have, I'm doing this by memory, Resident Evil 4. It's the remake, so I'll use that image. Mario Wonder. We have Tears of the Kingdom. I already kind of had it on here earlier, that's why I remember that one's there. Baldur's Gate 3. I'm pretty sure there's 6 games that are being nominated, right? Oh yeah, Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. All right. So first, we have to determine what would be my personal... And again, guys, this is a purely opinion-based, my opinion. Anybody who watches my streams or kind of pays attention to the games that I've done thoughts videos for on this channel, y'all know that I love RPGs and anything with a strong narrative and good story and everything. So first off, I have to say, I haven't played every game on the Game of the Year list for 2023. I have not played Alan Wake 2. I did not play the Resident Evil 4 remake. The original is one of my favorite games of all time. And I haven't played Mario Wonder. Damn, I've actually only played 2 games on this list. I played Baldur's Gate 3 and Spider-Man 2. Based on popular opinion, Baldur's Gate's probably going to be what's picked anyway. But I'm going to choose that over Spider-Man 2. Alan Wake 2 and Tears of the Kingdom are like the other like dark horse runners for a lot of people. But let's go ahead and put that in there. For this, the rest of the video's sake, we are going to say it's Baldur's Gate 3. I'll update this if that does not end up being the winner. Okay, so now they're in chronological order: 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2020, 21, 22, and 23. Now I have to rank. All right. The only game that's on this list that I never played is It Takes Two. So that's going to be the bottom. I don't really like multiplayer games, and while I did play a lot of Overwatch, that's going to be near the bottom as well. I only just played Breath of the Wild for the first time this year. It's probably going to be Last of Us Part 2 after that. See, this is where the list gets interesting, because for me it's probably Dragon Age Inquisition. And we'll talk about my reasonings once I've kind of ranked them all. Whew, this is tough, man, because Baldur's Gate 3 is insane. God of War is insane. But honestly, Ragnarok is better than the 2018 version. For me, it's probably like this. This, I think, is my personal ranking of all of the games. Can't clear that. All of the games of the Game Awards, the winning games for Game of the Year. And again, this is assuming Baldur's Gate 3 wins. That is my personal pick for Game of the Year for 2023. If that doesn't end up getting picked, I will do another video. Now, again, I'm putting It Takes Two at the bottom because I never played it. Just because I'm putting it at the bottom doesn't mean it's actually the worst game. I'm just putting it there because I can't rank this game because I've never played the game. I'm putting Overwatch 9th because, one, it's a competitive multiplayer shooter. While it was huge when it came out for probably about a year, 2 years, it was massive. It was honestly one of the only competitive games that had ever really made me rage and made me actually get extremely furious. This is coming from somebody who's played League of Legends since 2010. I just couldn't do it. Like, I had a lot of friends that would play it, and they would ask me to play, and I'm just like, I can't do it. So that's why that one's going to be number 9. Number 8, I have Breath of the Wild. This was kind of a toss-up between Breath of the Wild and Last of Us Part 2, but I think Last of Us Part 2 has stuck with me more. Like, I played Breath of the Wild just this year, so it's more fresh, and I still think about Last of Us Part 2 more. I still have a lot more memories and everything with this game. So, Breath of the Wild for me, I know for a lot of people this is an incredible game, but I don't know. I think a lot of other games do the open world significantly better. Number 8. And number 7, we're just talking about it, Last of Us Part 2. I was part of the camp that didn't like the way that it went based off of the first game. I understand why they did it, and it was bold and everything. So, I have no problem with the fact that it won Game of the Year that year. No problem at all. But it wasn't my personal Game of the Year, and so for me it's going to be kind of down there. Dragon Age Inquisition, the first game of the Game Awards that won Game of the Year. A lot of people actually really hate on this game because it's not true to Dragon Age Origins or even Dragon Age 2, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, sure, I understand that. But take it for what it is. Dragon Age Inquisition was incredible. I remember it when it came out, people were just like talking so much trash about the game. And I was like, dude, this game's amazing. I absolutely loved it. It would be higher on my list, but the other games on this list are just that much better. Pretty much from Dragon Age Inquisition onward, these games are all 9 out of 10s or better. So next I have God of War in 5th. So much to be said about the game. It's obviously incredible. It was their technically God of War 4, right? They changed the way the game is played. It's an over the shoulder open, like semi-open world RPG rather than the top-down kind of, just kind of straight hack and slash, moving from level to level and things like that. Extremely strong narrative and everything. I probably would have put it higher on the list if it was Ragnarok, if it was the sequel. It would have been higher on the list, but I actually think that Ragnarok is better than the 2018, so I'm putting it lower on the list. Next up, this was tough. This was really, really tough. I had to really, really think about if I wanted to put Witcher 3 in 3rd or 4th. These two could have been interchangeable for me, I feel like. And part of it is recency bias, I think, that perhaps I am putting Baldur's Gate 3 here. And again, it may not even get picked or it may not even be the winner for game of the year. But I mean, everyone's probably saying it is. From a lot of other news outlets, it already has won game of the year. But we're going with it for now. I'm going with Witcher 3 in 4th instead of 3rd because, one, I didn't play the game until 2017. I played it 2 years after it came out. Both the DLCs were already released. The game already had some mods for performance, and a lot of the stuff that was, I guess, performance issues related that people were talking about were already fixed. I loved the game. I loved the game so much. And this is coming from someone I never played Witcher 1 or 2. It was my first and only Witcher game. Well, not my only Witcher game. I played some other stuff related to The Witcher and whatnot, but in terms of the Geralt story, it was the only one that I played, and I fell in love with it. The only thing that really always draws me back, because it wasn't my game of the year for 2015 either. That was, in my opinion, the last year since 2023 that the year was stacked for like games that could all be interchangeable for game of the year. But the combat in Witcher 3, even when it was released, I felt like was already bad. I thought the combat was very clunky. It just wasn't smooth. In a year that Metal Gear Solid 5 was released and Bloodborne was released. And Bloodborne is my personal favorite game of all time, so yeah, I don't know. But I mean, everything else about the game, it's still a 9 out of 10 game. Looking forward to what PR Project Red, yeah. Oh, man, I am getting jumbled up. It's late. Do with the next Witcher game. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm putting Baldur's Gate 3 in the number 3 slot. And the reason why I was saying Baldur's Gate 3 or Witcher 3 and 3 and 4 could be interchangeable is because my 1 and 2 is hard locked with these two. So Baldur's Gate 3 had to go in 3rd place because 1 and 2 was already insta-locked. I played it before all the epilogue stuff was added to the game. So I do need to go back and play the game again. Do another 200-hour playthrough. Baldur's Gate 3 was an experience. It wasn't just a game. It's what I lived and breathed. I went to work so I can come home and play Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I played Baldur's Gate, like, it was everything, dude. It was honestly one of the best games I played in a long, long time, in a sense of what it made me feel and how it is. The reason why these other two games are still above it, I'll explain when I'm getting to them, but I am going to think about Baldur's Gate 3 probably more than any of these other games. Of all these games on this list, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be the one that stays with me. It has the narration, it has the characters, it has all the RPG mechanics you can think of, it has decision making more than any game that I have seen in over a couple decades. The last time I've played games that had decision making like that was like super old school RPGs, maybe even like text-based games and things like that, which is kind of crazy to think about because a lot of older games actually had more decision making than they do now. But Baldur's Gate 3 is number 3. Now, we have Elden Ring. So, I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do, Elden Ring or Sekiro in 1 or 2, but the reason why we're going with Elden Ring in number 2 is there is one thing about the game, well, kind of two things about the game, as to why it's actually probably one of my least favorite Souls games from FromSoft. One, the game is so massive. It is huge. Like, it is, right? Like, my first playthrough took me like 250 hours. Like, the game is insane, which is great, right? Like, as your first playthrough, having a game that takes that long and just that constant state of exploration and wonder in discovering new things constantly over and over and just being in awe. It's incredible. But you're really only going to experience that one time, right? Once you've experienced it once, you're never going to get that again. That's literally never going to happen again. So once you take that away from Elden Ring, what's left? The easiest Souls game. It is by far and away the easiest game to beat. Even if you challenge yourself playing with no summons. I forget what they're actually called. But yeah, just even using none of those, it's still the easiest game. And because the game is so long, even if you try to speed run through the game, it still takes you. You can still beat it in probably under 10 hours, maybe 10 hours for a playthrough. But I'm trying to think how long it actually took me. I don't know. But it just lost a lot of sense of what made the game great that first time is not there anymore for me to play it again. And one of the best things about all the FromSoft games is playing the game again and again and again and again. Let me play it this way. Let me play it this way. I'm going to play it this way. And while you obviously can do that, there's so many different builds in Elden Ring. For me, it's different than like Dark Souls in the sense of because Dark Souls, while there is all that sense of wonder and exploration and everything, a lot of that is secondary and tertiary to what makes those games incredible. For Elden Ring, I felt like that was actually one of the forefront things of the game. So, anyways, but it's, again, obviously I have it at number 2, so it's still incredible. Then lastly, number 1, I am putting Sekiro. Sekiro is probably my second favorite FromSoft game of all time. And this is a little ironic, right? Because I just got done talking about how in Elden Ring, there's really only, you lose a lot of what makes the game incredible in your first playthrough once you start to play it again. And while you can play in different builds, different varieties, and everything like that, you just kind of speed through the game. You're just getting through the game. Sekiro, there is no character customization. There's essentially only one way to play the game. Little variety in your tools, but essentially really only one way to really play if you think about it. Breaking it down to the core mechanics, you really just got to play the game the way the game wants you to play. But the satisfaction of the combat in this game is unmatched. The combat in Sekiro is better than all the FromSoft games. Bloodborne included, which is my favorite game of all time. It is better than that. There's very little RPG mechanics to the game, but there are some. This game has extra hidden bosses. This game has one of the craziest, gotcha moments that you're, shocked. Of course, it's only the first time you play it, but the game has so many cool fights. The game has an incredible setting. The movement in the game, I don't know, man. It was one of the games where, the first, 3 times I played Sekiro, I was like, yeah, the game's great, but, Dark Souls 1, 3, Bloodborne, all better, kind of thing. Sekiro just kept rising and rising and rising in my love for the game. The more I played it, the more I loved the game. And it's challenging. Even if you know exactly what to do, the execution for some of these fights, the real owl fight, minor spoilers, but it's that fight's insane. And you think, oh, okay, yeah, the final boss of fighting Ishin, that's one of the hardest fights. Yeah, not really. Of course, then they throw in the one boss fight that's like a Souls fight, and it's kind of throws you for a loop. But yeah. Anyways, guys, this is my ranking for all the Game Awards, Game of the Years. And again, we are assuming Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. It is my personal pick, and based on what's popular social media, going on, it's more than likely the one that is going to win. This is my ranking of all of the games, since the 10-year anniversary of the Game Awards. Alrighty, guys, thanks for watching, and I will be trying to make more content. Leave a comment below if you like this kind of thing or don't like this kind of thing. Subscribe, all that stuff. It helps out. Alright, guys. Peace.